Welcome back to Based Business. Have you ever dreamed of turning your passion into a thriving business? If you've had that dream, you've probably thought to yourself, how am I going to fund it? Well, today we're going to dive into the world of business funding, a journey filled with challenges and triumphs. I'm your host, Parker McCumber, and today we're going to be looking into how you can start and fund your business. First, imagine yourself the hero of this story, about to embark on a journey. And you can take somebody with you on this journey, and you're going to have to decide who that is. On your journey of business funding, starting your business and creating your dreams into a reality, you get to bring a partner along with you. That partner is going to be your method of funding for this story. So imagine each one of these funding methods as a character that you can choose to bring along with you on your journey. There's the traditional bank loan, the adventurous venture capitalist, a supportive angel investor, the crowd collective of crowdfunding, and the self-reliant bootstrapper, that's yourself. Each one of these characters is going to play a unique role in your entrepreneurial saga. Now, there are some challenges and dilemmas that you're going to have to face when choosing a funding method. The first one is going to be which companion is right for your journey. So let's go ahead and look at some of the pros and cons of funding methods. First, we'll start with bank loans. They're stable, they're predictable, they come with a fixed payment schedule. Some people like those. There's retaining full ownership for you. You don't give up equity. And over time, they're going to build the credit worthiness of your business. However, there are some drawbacks to bank loans. The first being collateral is necessary, right? So if you default on your loan, you're risking an asset. There's also a strict eligibility criteria. Generally, it's difficult for a startup to qualify unless you as an individual have a good credit history and you can co-sign. You might be struggling to get an initial bank loan. And there's also the burden of interest, right? That's going to add to the cost of doing business over time. Your second method of business funding was venture capital. Venture capital has some big pros, big cons. I view it as a high risk, high reward type setup. First, you're probably seeking funding in large amounts if you're going with venture capital. So this is suitable for rapid growth. And honestly, a con is typically they seek high returns quickly. So you need to scale and grow in venture capital. There's also a pro for business expertise and networking. Venture capitalists typically want to provide you and your business with strategic support and mentorship, right? They want you to grow because they're investing in you, and that's how they get their money back, right? There's not typically a repayment option with venture capitalism. You're ceding equity to them instead, and so they make their money back. They get their return on investment when you succeed and the business grows and your equity grows. However, the con is you give up some of your equity, right? They're essentially purchasing that from you with their investment. And then there's going to be that pressure to grow, scale, succeed. So it's a high stakes, high reward funding method. Next, you have angel investors, right? This is very similar to venture capitalists. However, these are typically like not a group or a firm of people. It's typically someone who has money and is looking to invest. So angel investors typically offer mentorship and networking opportunities as well. And there's typically flexible terms to repayment or to structure the agreement there. Most of the time, these are equity-based. However, I have heard of angel investors who don't want equity in businesses and they seek, a 10 to 15% a year return on their investment type deal. Again, angel investors typically have very flexible plans as far as how that payment's going to go, how that relationship's going to be structured. And usually angel investors are people who have had a measure of success in business already, and they're willing to help you out, help you grow, mentor you as you go. Some cons to angel investors are that your equity is diluted again. I mean, similar to a venture capitalist, you're giving up equity in a lot of these cases. And you may have varied involvement levels, right? Some angel investors want to be very heavily involved in your business and the growth of your business and making sure that things are running efficiently and profitable. And other angel investors are very hands-off, and they'll want pretty much nothing to do with the day-to-day operations. They just want to see the return on the investment over time. And typically, because angel investors are, individuals or small groups, there's less money available than there is with like big venture capital firms or traditional bank loans. Next, you have crowdfunding that we mentioned. So crowdfunding, really popular in the last decade, has grown a lot. And I think one of the biggest pros and reasons that crowdfunding has become popular is market validation. Okay. It's a way that you can easily gauge your customer interest for your product or services, right? If you put something out and you're trying to crowdfund it and it flops, people just aren't interested. But if you put something out there and it thrives and succeeds and you exceed your crowdfunding goals, obviously there's a market demand for that and it needs to be created or provided. Creative freedoms also come with crowdfunding, right? You're not losing equity. There's no debt that you have to repay. This is, people bringing you money to bring a product or service into creation. Community building is also kind of a cool aspect of crowdfunding. It engages a group of early supporters or adopters and potential customers. But in doing this, you're also getting a lot of really cool information as far as a demographic information about people who are supporting your product or service or business. And that's going to help you with marketing down the road. So that's a cool strategic benefit to crowdfunding. Some of the drawbacks to crowdfunding is that your success is not guaranteed and the campaign might not reach its funding goals. It's also very time and effort intensive. Crowdfunding is very dependent on your marketing and outreach. So if you're not getting that outreach and exposure, you're not bringing in people to invest in your products and services. And some people view it a con, maybe it's a pro in some situations, but product focus, right? The crowdfunding is typically going to be best suited for businesses that are creating a physical product or tangible product, and they need money to actually bring that product to life, because then you're able to, essentially sell an aspect of that or a pre-order for that, and then create it and ship it to the customers. And we'll talk about that kind of concept in a minute. The last funding option is obviously bootstrapping. Bootstrapping is you, the hero of your story as an individual, paying for everything on your own. The way a lot of people do this is they work, their job or their career, and they start their business on the side, and the leftover money, the disposable income that they're not using from their career or their job, is funding the start of that business and the things it needs to grow and thrive. So pro of that is you can maintain complete control of your business. You have full ownership, full decision-making power. There's no debts, no obligation. Your financial freedom is entirely dependent upon yourself. And there's also budget discipline, obviously. It encourages a lean and efficient operation. That's something that I think most entrepreneurs should be striving for anyways, right? Efficiency, efficiency, efficiency. Cons, the drawbacks to bootstrapping, is that your resources are going to be much more limited than if you had outside investors, right? Your growth is often slower because it's just you investing in the success of your company. There's a greater financial risk to you as the individual or the entrepreneur. And obviously the potential for scaling is diminished. So you might miss out on a faster growth opportunity that you could have achieved if you suck out venture capital or like an angel investor or something. So these are things that you're going to have to weigh when you're trying to make your decision. I guess that brings us to the crossroads of our story, right? Is the decision making. Are you going to choose bank loans? Are you going to choose venture capital, angel investors? What's going to be the right fit for you? honestly, I think it's important to weigh the pros and cons to each, view your business model, right? We talked about writing a business plan in a previous video and podcast. So assess your business plan and figure out what's going to be best for you, because oftentimes business funding requires surrendering or sharing a piece of your dream with someone else. So are you ready to give up a portion of your business? Are you ready for shared decision making and to cede some of that power, or maybe take on a pressure for rapid scaling? Debt financing, like a bank loan, keeps your ownership intact, but it adds that necessity of you're going to have these payments every month, and that demands financial discipline. So how do you choose? Reflect on your business nature, reflect on your tolerance for risk, and your vision for growth. Consider what you need and what your products or services are going to be best suited for. And then remember that this choice, while it shapes the journey that you take, it's not necessarily what determines your success, right? It's your drive, your effort. There's a lot more factors than just how you seek funding. So we'll talk briefly about my personal pro tip. We'll call it a pro tip for business funding. And what I call it is the bootstrap plus crowdfund method, or the pre-order method, right? And this is something that I used to grow each of my e-commerce businesses. When an entrepreneur looks to start a business, they're overwhelmed with costs, right? This product and services cost X amount, these cost this amount, this infrastructure costs this amount, there's a lot that goes into it. If you're going to bootstrap it and you're going to do it by yourself, one, find the free trials, okay? If you're a physical product seller, right? ClickFunnels will give you, I think, a 2-week free trial. Maybe it's a month free trial. Shopify will give you a month free trial, right? You can get in and create a place to sell your product, right? And they have payment processing and everything. So you're creating a storefront, you're listing your products. That's where you can do that, right? And you can do it for free for a short period of time. Now, if you don't have the money to bring your product to life, here's what I do. I create a Shopify store or a ClickFunnels, a sales funnel, something like that. There's also other websites, Wix and whatever. And you list the items for pre-order, right? Try to drum up some organic sales, right? You can reach out to Facebook groups, obviously friends, family, word of mouth, that kind of thing. But you want to start drumming up some sales for that product that's listed there as pre-order. And you list it for 3 weeks or a month out or whatever it's going to take you to bring those in and produce that and provide that product to somebody. But what that allows you to do is bring in the money first, right? So it minimizes your risk. Then you take that money, you can pay your bills and expenses. So like if your free trial is up, you've got to actually get on the paid plans. You use that software. Great, you've got money now. You buy the products, you bring the products in, and you ship them out to your customers. And you've created essentially a very low risk way to fulfill your e-commerce stuff. You can still use a strategy similar like that to service-based businesses, right? Obviously create like a landing page, a sales funnel, on a free trial plan. You bring in some scheduling appointments or whatever it's going to be for you to do that. You're bringing in money, and then you can use that money to get the things you need to fulfill that service. So there are options out there. Sometimes it requires being creative. And if you're an entrepreneur and that's what you're trying to do and you want to start your business, ultimately your creativity and your determination to make it grow and succeed are what's going to be what makes it grow and succeed. So think creatively, find innovative solutions. There's a lot of options out there when it comes to like free trials and things that you can take advantage of to get something off the ground quickly. You'll never succeed if you don't attempt. So if this journey's for you and you are interested in it, you should probably just do it. Take the steps and take the action to get that going and growing. If you have any cool stories, comments, or questions, I, of course, would appreciate it if you share them with us. We'd love to hear what you have to say, and we appreciate you guys chiming in to this week's episode of Base Business. I hope that it has provided you some clarity as to ways you can fund your business and the pros and cons of different types of funding methods. Remember the pre-order method. I highly recommend it. Great method to kind of merge that bootstrapping and crowdfunding for proof of concept and to bring in some money to get you rolling. I'm Parker McCumber, and we'll see you next time.